Well, Jennifer, tell me about the lesson you're going to begin with.
Well, the lesson I'm going to begin with is one of my all-time favorite books called The 100 Dresses, and it's by Eleanor Estes. It's a very old book. And we're going to talk about cause and effect because it's something where it's the very, very beginning of school. And it's something where I want the children to understand where I stand on the issue of bullying, where our school policy stands on the issue of bullying, and how that affects children and affects them in their personal lives, and how that goes even to the child who's being bullied, to the home with them, into their home life, about how they feel about themselves. So we're going to do a big cause and effect on it.
Okay, so you want them to know the effects of bullying.
I do.
So basically, in a nutshell. And doing this at the beginning of the year, you think this is a good idea because this will enable the children to understand what your position is, what the school's position is,
Yes.
and so forth.
Yes. And also understand the ramifications. If the bullying doesn't stop or we can't change behavior, then what happens? What's going to happen?
Okay, so I think I understand. Yes, you want them to really deeply comprehend the effects of bullying. What will happen if it continues?
Yes.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do is we're going to do it as a read aloud. So I have copies for every child to have a book, and we're going to be using Post-it notes in different sections as those aha moments. Whether it's a private piece, where as we're writing or as we're reading along, and we're all doing a course read, and those who are and I do a course read because those who are strong readers, they're going to be able to read along with me. Those who are mediocre, not mediocre, medium, I got this, but I'm not quite on grade level. Reader, they can whisper read along, and they're gaining new knowledge. And for those who are my struggling readers, are going to be what we call pretend. Their mouths will be moving, but they're really they don't know how to pronounce some of the words, or some of the words they don't know. So I do course reads to help support all those different levels of readers. Then what I want to do is pause at one of my moments and say, aha, and explain to them then what an aha moment is for me. This is something that I have in my Post-it note, or I may, and they can have a Post-it note and they may write something, they may write nothing at all, because they can take it home then and write something if they need to, because it's that personal. Because some of these kids, it's very personal that this is something that's happened to them, or it's happened to their best friend, or something like that. So we're going to be writing about an aha moment that happened to me, that happened to someone I know. Oh, I remember this one, something like that. Or I remember seeing that on the news, anything like that, because in third grade they really are introduced to the world of public news. They either listen more attentively, tune in to their parents talking about what's going on in the world, or they hear something on the radio, or scholastic news, anything like that.
Okay. Well, it sounds like you have a handle on how personal this is, and using the Post-it notes is a good idea, I think. You're going to give the children an opportunity to do that in class or after class, so I really think that's a good way to support it. And it sounds like you're scaffolding for the students that are the readers who need more help and support. So I like that. I think it's a good idea.
And this really isn't about reading. This really is about the cause and effect part of it. That's probably one of the biggest things I need to stress, is that's about that. So how will I know what they're learning? One of the things is their Post-it notes are going to stay inside their books, and I'll be collecting their books then periodically. So I want to read through their Post-it notes. Are they posting? Are they noting something? If they're not noting something, then I'm going to be calling them and talking to them, personally, again, one-on-one in a quiet space. Okay, I don't see any notes. What's going on with this book? I don't like it. Okay, tell me in a note in the book what you don't like, so that I know what's going. So, and because at the very end, when we get closer to the end of the book, that's when we have a lot more of especially with boys, because they'll say, "Oh, this is a girl's book," and it's not, because there's boys in the story too who are being affected.
Okay. So when you're collecting these books and looking at the Post-it notes, can you clarify for me exactly what they're going to be writing on the Post-it notes? Give me an example.
An example would be, oh, I remember when this happened to me. Somebody made fun of a piece of clothing I was wearing, or I remember why, or aha moment. I remember watching a Disney movie or, something on Disney or whatever, and so was picking on somebody because, they had braces or they had the wrong shoes. So it's more of clarifying, are they understanding what I'm asking them to find? Is it aha moments, something that either happened to them personally, something that they saw happen to someone else. So that's part of the engagement. I want to see if they can really get engaged into this book and understanding the cause and effect of bullying. And part of what I'm going to do that is their task is, again, the Post-it notes, but also as they're going through it, as we finish like one chapter, I want them to write me a summary of that chapter based on either their Post-it notes or what they've read. And again, it's more of a personal journey, or a little bit more of a personal journal. But I'm not really looking at, are they setting it up as a journal piece of writing? I'm looking at, did they get engaged in the book? Are they understanding what I'm asking them to make this something personal to themselves? Whether, again, it's personally happened to them, or did it happen to someone that they know, or something they saw on TV? So they understand the effects of bullying.
Okay, so it sounds like what you're doing is, with these Post-its, is you will see from the examples that they cite that they understand what is the cause, this is what happened to me, and what is the effect of what happened. And so by reading the text and then having these examples that they give from their personal life, this is how you're going to find out what they know.
Right, and it takes a few chapters into the book. I want to say a few. I want to say maybe 2 or 3. By the time they read it, they're understanding. And it's very interesting. From in the past, when I've done this, is the students, when they get to Maddie and they get to the end of or not, a little bit halfway through the book, some of the notes they start getting are, they don't like Maddie. They don't like this other character in the book. These 2 girls are mean. This is, these boys, and the teacher's horrible. She's sending these boys over here because they've got the dirty shoes because they've had to walk so many miles to school. So it becomes very interesting how the students' emotions start to come in towards these characters, because again, we're starting to build that identification of them.
Okay, well, that sounds like you understand that this is going to be really personal for the students, and that you're going to get a lot of information from them when they respond with these Post-it notes. And you said they were writing a summary also of each chapter. Are you envisioning that they would do that in class when you're done reading it together, or are you thinking that they are reflecting on it later?
I'm going to have them do it in class. And it could be something where I'm thinking, because it's such a personal piece, that they may have like a privacy screen around them as they're writing. That way none of their neighbors are really being able to see what they write. Because it is a personal thing, especially if it's someone in the classroom that's doing it to another schoolmate, which we've all experienced. So again, I want to protect their privacy, and these aren't. And one of the things I'm going to make sure at the end of it is, when I talk about the students, make sure they're engaged to learn this lesson. Is at the end we can all say, well, I'm going to go tell an adult, so and so is doing this or that. But also, I want them, maybe at the very end is we make posters or something like that we put up around the school. So, but again, I'm having to kind of look at the end of my project, and I may have to. Change it up depending on where these students take me on this journey and what is it that they need to learn at the outcome. I mean, I have my ideas of, do we do anti-bullying posters? Do we write slogans? Do we, what is it that we do, or do I have them just write me a personal piece, and I just keep those private to myself, so that again, I also then see who is being bullied in the classroom, who's not being bullied, who has empathy, who doesn't have it, and it just gives me a really great sense of the makeup of the kids in the classroom and what to be aware of in my students, and also just helps me understand, do they understand cause and effect? Do they have feelings and empathy, and do they understand?
Okay, so the core of the lesson is cause and effect, but you also have this secondary goal of understanding your students and finding out the situation in the classroom,
Yes.
whether there's bullying or not bullying. And I hear you saying that the lessons down the road will be determined by what happens in their responses to the text, correct?
Yes, yes, because even though I have the end planned, it may change, or I may have to alter it depending on how the students are responding to this lesson, because it is such a personal, touchy subject.
All right, thank you. I think you're going to do very well with that.
Thank you.